Welcome to the newest episode of Sports Talk Central. I'm your host, Deep Mahmood, with my normal co-host, Hunter, and today we're going to be doing some MLB news, but also some recent NFL news. So let's just first talk about some MLB news. So Juan Soto has a forearm injury. What was your thoughts when you heard that, and how do you think it impacts the Yankees?
I just hope it's not too serious. I mean, he's been off to one heck of a start for the Yankees this year. One of the main reasons why, they've been one of the top teams in baseball, at least heading into this Dodgers series before the Dodgers. I'm sure you were happy about what the Dodgers were doing to the Yankees this weekend, but I just really hope it's not that serious just because, again, he was off to a great start this year overall. And, I have a couple Yankees fans who they used to follow the Nats. Well, they follow the Nats a little. They ask questions about him because he used to play for the Nats. I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're getting a bona fide superstar. And, 64 games, he already has 53 RBIs, 17 home runs. He's batting .318. So I just really hope that everything is okay and it's just not like long term because they're going to need him if they want to finally go on a long run for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I think he is definitely. I know that in the MVP race, him and Judge are in that race as well. I would, if I had to make a vote for one of those two, I'm going with Juan Soto because Aaron Judge is in the lineup. Last couple of days, the Yankees' offense isn't very good. If you want to go value, Juan Soto changes that lineup completely. And also, I don't know if Yankee fans have PTSD from Jason Dominguez's Tommy John surgery stuff last year. But I did find it interesting that Aaron Boone says, there's no expectation that he should be on the IL. And that was a couple days ago. That's when it was inflammation. Then a day later, he says, it's a possibility that he might be on the IL. And he hasn't been in the lineup for the last 3 days. So are they trying to slow play? If they are slow playing the thing with Juan Soto, look, it's still the same team that had Anthony Rizzo having a concussion 2 or 3 months before we found out about it. This is the same team that slow played Jason Dominguez before he had to have Tommy John. So I think Yankee fans are definitely worried. And with the Orioles playing really well, I think with the win today, they're 2 games. They're 2 games behind the Yankees right now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have Juan Soto and you don't have much of an offense. That is definitely a cause for concern. But if you look at the standings, I mean, Yankees are still up by 2 games. If they were to lose today, in one weekend they go from a 4.5 game lead to a 1.5 game lead, and that's definitely not there. I mean, if you look at the standing, I mean, Tampa Bay, they seem like this is a rebuilding year. Like we can never count out Tampa Bay, but 31-34 isn't great. Toronto might be sellers. So do you think they would consider moving Vlad Jr. or Bo Bichette? Or
I mean, if they do, they're going to ask for the sun and the moon. I mean, I would. Like, those are 2 of the best players in Major League Baseball. But I think with Toronto, I think they might kind of see this as like a gap year and maybe punt to next year and try to contend that year. I don't know. If they do move them, it's going to have to be for a lot. I'm sure they're going to listen, but I don't really think they're going to move them, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's the tough part. I don't think they will. I mean, maybe next offseason. Like, maybe this is a next offseason type of thing if they want to. I mean, maybe you see a Chris Bassett or a Kevin Gausman or Barrios get moved, but I don't think you're going to see some of their position players. Maybe Justin Turner. Maybe Justin Turner can be
he could be like a good bet to move at the deadline if you want to get like some sort of prospect back or something like that. You can send him to a contending team that can help. He can help out for the playoff rush, So I can see someone like that getting moved at the deadline.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. And Jordan Romano, I know he's been a solid closer, but he's on the IL and he hasn't been as effective. So I don't know if it's smart to move him. I mean, White Sox, 17-48, they're done. I mean, they're considering moving Luis Robert Jr. Look, I get it.
That team stinks, man. That was a 14 game losing streak, longest in franchise history.
Yep.
I mean, I feel awful for their fans that this is the level of baseball that they've been getting. They were 61 and 101 last year. They're on pace to be even worse this year than last year, which I can't even believe I'm saying. Adit, when do you think their manager, because I mean, we were writing about it for work this week. When do you think they pull the plug and fire the manager?
I give it 2 years. I give it 2 years at most.
Like the manager of the team, not the GM, but like the manager.
No, the man, Pedro Grifol. I give him 2 years. Chris Getz, I think he just has too much job security, but I have no idea what they're doing.
You think the manager is going to stay beyond this season?
I think that this is going to be one of those, we're tanking. We're going to try to trade some of our pieces, and we're going to see what you do next year. Okay. And if it's anything similar, then you're gone type of thing. Okay. Because they're not good enough that it's disappointing. Like they're down in the gutter, and they're just digging themselves further, which is what ironically might save him past this year. So that's kind of reasoning for me. But I mean, you look at Kansas City, has been solid. Minnesota has been decent, but the Central, I mean, Guardians have been good.
The AL West stinks this year.
I'm surprised. I mean, look, I mean, Mariners. I don't know if you can trust them. No. Rangers, half their guys are hurt.
Yeah.
Astros, we have no idea. Like, are they going to move some of their guys? I mean, Tucker's on the IL with a shin injury, but are they going to could the Astros sell off some of their veteran pieces? Like, that's where we're at right now. Like, they're kind of in that middle ground. And then Oakland is Oakland. And did you see that story about how the owner of the A's wants to play 10% of their games?
I did see something about that. Yes, and I laughed very much.
And then I feel so bad for Juan Washington. I feel so bad for the guy.
One of these days, the Angels will be decent. And then you can update the Braves. They just lost another series to the Nats. The Nats are now 30 and 35. The Braves are 35 and 28. The Nats have won 6 of their last 8 against Atlanta. They're Braves killers this year. And it's so funny. They can take 3 out of 4 against the Braves, but then they got swept by the Mets earlier this week in DC. Just a very interesting team. But it's just nice seeing them again, win a couple series against a team that I still think should make the playoffs this year, even though they don't have Acuna for the rest of the year. But the NL East overall,
4 good teams. There's only 3 or 4 good teams in the NL.
Yeah, the NL East is really not that good anyway. We all know how bad the Marlins are. I know the Mets swept my Nats this week, but I don't think the Mets are that good. Obviously, the Nats are below 500. The Braves, I don't think they're going to go on a deep run without Acuna. But I will say, the Phillies are very, very good, and I won't be surprised if they do come out of the National League and win the pennant there.
Yeah, and NL Central, I mean, that's going to be – I think we're going to see maybe 1 or 2 teams from there. Cardinals –
the Pirates have come back a little bit. They're pitching – I think they have one of the 5 best pitching staffs in baseball right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, oh yeah. Jared Jones, Skeens, Keller. Yeah. That's a pretty good trio.
Yeah, no, it's very good. Their lineup is just lacking still a little bit. So that race in the Central is going to be really interesting to see who gets potentially one or 2 of the wild card spots, or one of them potentially. The Brewers, I think, are going to win it, but does one of those other teams get a wild card spot? And then you can say the same is one of the teams from the West get it, because we all know the Dodgers are going to win that division. The Rockies aren't going to do anything, but who gets one of those wild card spots? The Padres get it, the Giants, the Diamondbacks. It's so funny. There's so many mid to bad teams in the NL outside of Milwaukee, LA, and Philadelphia, to a lesser extent, Atlanta. I don't think there's a single good team in the National League.
So you just mentioned 4 of the teams that are going to be in the playoffs. I think we can bucket at those 4. Atlanta, Philly.
And then everyone else for the other 2 wild card spots is just wide open, right?
Padres and Cubs, maybe. Maybe you do maybe it's Padres and Cubs or something.
It's definitely the Nats are only 2 games out of the final wild card spot.
Yeah, no, and then also just a note on the Orioles, first team this year to get to 100 home runs yesterday. They got to 100 home runs yesterday. Gunnar has 20. O'Hearn has 9. Rutschman has 13 or 14. Santander has 13 or 14. This is a team that can crush it for home runs, and they're doing a lot. Now they're doing a lot. It's not solo shots. Like I think there's like 50 or something solo shots, but then there's like 32 run shots, 3 or 4 grand slams, a bunch of 3-run shots. Relying on a home run is a recipe for success. Relying on solo home runs is not a recipe for success. If they can continue just get one guy on base, that just matters so much more, especially in the postseason when guys aren't going to walk more. You're not going to get those big innings. And I think the teams that can hit the most home runs in the postseason have a better chance. So we'll see what they do there. It is funny, it is interesting because they're at 100. Like it's June 9th, and they hit 2 home runs today. Like Rutschman grand slam and the Santander home run. They have 102 home runs, and it's June 9th. I mean, they honestly, by the All-Star break, could have 135, 140 at this rate. They honestly.
I mean, they'll probably end the season if they keep going like this. They'll end the season with what a deep 250 somewhere around there.
200, 220, 230.
Yeah, like it's been. Yeah, they love the deep ball, to say the least. But, it's interesting seeing just the standings overall. I mean, just, again, looking at the wild card for the NL, the Padres have that second wild card spot. And then, indeed, I'm counting right now, 5 teams are tied for that third wild card spot in the NL. And you have the Diamondbacks and the Nats a game and a half back. Just a very unserious league in the NL this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's bad. Like you're going to get 1 to 2 like mid to flat out bad teams that make the playoffs.
Yeah, and with the luck of baseball, that's going to be the team that gets to the World Series. With the luck of baseball, that is going to be the team that represents in a National League. Let's move on to the first of last 2 stories. This one came about a couple hours ago. Darren Waller, he announced his retirement. His career stats: 350 receptions, 4,124 yards, 20 touchdown passes. Obviously, he was a draft pick of the Ravens. He had some off-field issues, went to the Raiders. He looked like he was going to be a top 5 tight end. And then I guess the Giants are where careers go to die. I mean, I feel like him going to the Giants.
Was he hurt or not really? I don't think he was injured, was he?
No, I don't think he was. I just think that the Giants offense was that anemic. No, but you know what he reminds me of this move? Into the Giants? Chris Bryant to the Rockies.
Yeah, I could see it. I just hope everything is okay with him. That's the thing. Like, I hope there's like nothing like. I just hope he's obviously mentally okay. Like that's what's most important for like a player. I just hope there's again like nothing wrong. Just because it felt like this was like out of the blue a little bit. So I wish him the best in his retirement. When he was healthy, he was fun to watch, especially with the Raiders. 2019, he finished with 90 receptions, 1,145 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The year after had an even better year, 107 receptions for 1,196 yards and 9 touchdowns. So he's been a tight end to get 1,000 yard seasons twice. And then even with last year with the Giants, he had 552 yards. It was his best year since 2021 with the Raiders. Only spent that one season with the Giants. And I actually felt like at the time it was a really good move just to get them another playmaker, because obviously the Giants had that good year in 2022. But, I wish him nothing but the best moving forward.
Oh, yeah, no, like, look, they're off the field. Obviously, there was that divorce that he had. There's the off the field stuff. You hope that he's good and all. I mean, it was definitely such a bad downturn. I mean, you look at the yards, like 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and then 600, almost 600, 60 yards, 400 yards. I mean, it didn't seem like he was hurt. I mean, 12 games played. I mean, this was a guy that you could have said he was one of the better tight ends in the game. He was almost like that receiving tight end, and who knows what would have happened. And like if he went to a different team other than the Giants, maybe he would have had a good career. I mean,
Maybe. I mean, we don't fully know if he would have played this year, even if he went to another team.
What about Buffalo? What if he went to Buffalo? No, I mean, well, they have Dawson Knox. They have a few other guys.
They have Dawson Knox. But like, even if he went to another team, put up better numbers this past season, I still don't know if that would have made a difference overall. It just felt like it just came out of the blue. I know he wasn't at any OTAs. I know he wasn't going to be at mini camp. He hasn't really been around the team that much this offseason anyway. Again, I just hope everything is all right.
Yeah, so let's talk about another, like a receiver extension. Justin Jefferson signs a 4-year extension, 110 guaranteed. In signing 104, I think it was 4 years, 140. It was 110 guaranteed at signing. There was a lot of headlines with him this offseason. There was the story about I don't know if you saw it. It was someone worked at a grocery and thought that they heard from someone that the Vikings were nearing a deal to send Justin Jefferson to the Bengals so he could be with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and then they were going to make the money work. It's like that was debunked pretty quickly. And then there was
another report, Adit, that the 49ers called on Justin Jefferson this offseason, and they were told no. I mean, if they would have traded for him, I think Ayuk or Deebo Samuel would have been gone by now, because I don't see how they would have been able to afford all three of them for the season unless you're just moving out a bunch more salary cap for the money. So that was, I think, debunked as well. I know it was reported, but I think it was debunked as well. But a very good payday for Jefferson. He very much deserves it. Again, to me, he is the best wide receiver in football. He just reminds me a little bit of watching Calvin Johnson as a kid. He's so much fun to watch. It doesn't matter if you put one guy, two guys, three guys on him. He's still going to go out there and make every catch known to man. And now a little bit, he kind of resets that receiver market in a way. What does this mean now for Jamar Chase? I mean, he's going to be looking to secure a bag, obviously. And we will have to ask the question, does the Bengals ownership group want to give him that type of money? So, I mean, Chase obviously is looking at that and like, okay, I'll say it like this. He's going to look at that contract and be like, that's the type of money that I want to get with the production I've had. And I'll be curious to see if the Bengals want to pay him that.
Look, there could be a situation here where, because you have two in the Cincinnati area, you have two really good players, De La Cruz for the Reds and Jamar Chase. There is a very good possibility that Ellie De La Cruz is playing somewhere else in 3 years. There's a very good possibility. And I don't think there's a possibility that the Bengals will let Jamar Chase walk. No. But
they'll lose Higgins. They'll lose Higgins before letting Chase go.
Yeah, but it's definitely scary for Cincinnati sports fans because it's like you signed. The good thing is, but you have two really good athletes in Chase and De La Cruz, and there's a reality out there where you don't keep both of them. And when you look at the contract that Justin Jefferson got, $35 million a year, I don't know. Look, the Bengals have to spend money on multiple players, big money, for me to believe that they're going to spend money. I know they splurged on Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
But apparently he requested a trade or something went wrong there.
Yeah, he requested a trade because he feels he's undervalued. He wants another big contract. So, I mean, this is going to be a really interesting time for the Bengals and their ownership group, man. We've texted about it before. They've had what's the word I'm looking for?
Frugal?
No, their ownership has been labeled as what, Adit?
Cheap.
What is it? Yes. They've had the struggle of their ownership being labeled as cheap. Well, I think we're going to find out pretty quickly here, outside of the Burrow contract, which, that was deserved. He's top 5 quarterback in the league. We're going to find out pretty quickly here if that's actually true. Chase, Hendrickson, T. Higgins, though I think they're going to choose Chase over Higgins. They're not going to have room for all these guys. And we all know they've been reluctant to pay some of their top players over the years. So I'm just curious to see. But, just from a Viking standpoint, it makes sense for the now. It makes sense for the future. You have your number one target, your number one playmaker locked up for the next several years. He's going to be catching passes from your rookie quarterback. There was no reason to move on. Even though they're not a quote-unquote contender right now, you still lock up a player like that when you have the chance. Why would you let that guy walk?
And that's a nice core. That's a very nice core offense that you have for the next few years. Like Justin Jefferson on the rookie deal. Not just
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy. By the way, so JJ to JJ is a possibility. So JJ McCarthy on a rookie contract. The guy they got last year, USC receiver. I can't remember his name.
Oh crap. I know who you're talking about.
Jordan Addison.
Yes, Addison. Yes, correct.
Yeah, he's on a rookie deal. Justin Jefferson. I believe they have TJ Hawkinson as well. They have that's a nice core they have, and then whoever you have, KJ Osborne,
Aaron Jones at running back.
Yeah, that's a nice core that they have. And by the way, it's nicely valued. So they should be able to make damage in that division. I mean, let's look. I mean, I was looking at Spot Track to see the market value, and I don't know if it's adjusted after the Justin Jefferson contract, but they are valuing Jamar Chase at 3 years, about $91.5 million. So that's about $30 million a year. No way. He's getting more than 3 years, $91.5 million from someone.
Yes.
Brandon Ayuk, 4 years, $106 million. I don't know. He's probably getting more. He's getting more than that.
I think that he'll get more than $30 million a year on his extension. I think so.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, 4 years, $136 million. So
about that, he's real good. He had a great year last year. He's been great since coming in. I mean, he's also going to get a pretty big payday as well. I'm curious to see how the Cowboys approach that negotiation. But they have that, and they have Prescott to worry about. Prescott's going into the final year of his contract. I think right now that's a little more important than CeeDee Lamb because they got to figure out that. And there's really been not much progress on Prescott anyway. So, I mean, those two storylines, if those are still not solved heading into the season, there's going to be some interesting off the field stuff.
Oh, you forgot the third thing. You forgot number 3. Mike McCarthy.
Huh?
Mike McCarthy.
That's right. He only has a year left on his contract. Yeah, this is, I think, potentially a make or break year for that team with that core right now.
Yeah, and then also T. Higgins. They're saying on Spot Track, T. Higgins, 5 years, $98.5 million. I think he gets more than that.
I think so. He's a number 1 wide receiver on 2/3 of NFL teams.
Yeah. So, and obviously Nico Collins a couple weeks ago signed an extension. We had the guy from the Eagles, not
AJ Brown.
No, the other Waddle, Alabama receiver, the other Alabama guy.
Jesus, why am I forgetting easy names? But no, Brown did sign an extension.
Yeah, no, Brown. Both of them signed. Brown was the guy that signed on the draft.
Why am I forgetting the easiest names of players? I should know this. It's Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
I should not be forgetting easy stuff like that.
Those guys, it is interesting where the receiver market's going. I mean, so it's gonna be. But as a Steelers fan, when you saw this and you saw because I know Ayuk and Deebo Samuel were rumored to be targets of Steelers. How do you feel about now seeing Jefferson getting $35 million a year? Jamar Chase is probably going to get in the mid-30s as well.
I mean, a little bit scary just because if they do want to go after, especially Ayuk, you're going to have to be prepared to pay him, that type of contract. And then that gets into what happens with George Pickens. This will be year three, for Pickens. He's going to be eligible for an extension fairly soon. If he has another great year like he did this past year, his price is going to continue to go up. So it does get me a little nervous. I mean, at the end of the day, I do expect him to have a wide receiver too by the time the season starts. I really don't think you're going to go into the season with George Pickens and a bunch of, no offense, number 3, number 4 wide receivers on the roster. So, it makes me a little bit nervous, but I have faith in Omar that he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm also I'm getting a little nervous with Zay Flowers. If he balls out for the next couple of years. Now, granted, depending on what the contracts look like, and maybe depending on what the contracts look like, I mean, it's going to be really interesting. But it's going to be so. We're going to end the show on that note. So we'll be back next week. We'll see we'll see the news, wherever it takes us. We were planning on mainly doing baseball today, but then the Jefferson extension and the Darren Waller retirement kind of came in during the week, so we want to focus on that as well.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, there's some more NFL, college football news to discuss, and also the college football games coming out next month, so that'll be fun.
Also, there's apparently it's gonna be announcing the cover athlete for Madden.
Sweet, well, so. Yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Talk to you all then.